Howdy, friend. Sam Houston here, hoping you're living in high cotton. And if you're lucky enough to be in Texas, I know you're most of the way there. Now enjoy your daily dose of Texas history and Texas pride.
Well, howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast and your Texas History Roundup for the amazing day, April 21st, San Jacinto Day. In 1836, Scout Erastus Deaf Smith reported early in the morning that General Martin Perfecto de Cos was approaching with about 550 men, and in mid-morning, an enemy column was spotted coming from Harrisburg. This would bring the Mexican force to between 1,300 and 1,400 men. General Sam Houston called a council of war at noon, and after, his officers voted 5-2 in favor of a defensive battle. He adjourned the meeting without revealing his decision. The Texans numbered about 780 effectives, about 260 more than when he crossed the Brazos River. Houston sent Smith and an aide to destroy Vince's Bridge to impede any further Mexican reinforcements. About 3 p.m, he had the Texan battle line form behind him, behind a screen of trees, with Colonel Edward Burleson's regiment in the center, Colonel Sidney Sherman's regiment on the left wing, the Twin Sisters under George W. Hockley on Burleson's right, Lieutenant Colonel Henry Millard's infantry on the right of the artillery, and Colonel Marabou B. Lamar's cavalry on the extreme right. About 3:30 p.m., during the Mexican siesta, with a wave of Houston's hat, the line moved forward, and after being spotted by enemy pickets, began chanting, "Remember the Alamo! Remember Goliad!" They were led by a drummer and a fifer playing the only tune he knew. Quote, it was called, "Will You Come to the Bower?" Grape and canister fired from the Twin Sisters breached the enemy's barricades. 20 paces out, the Texas infantry fired their first volley and immediately charged. Thereafter, the fighting was mainly hand-to-hand. The slaughter was horrific, with many Mexican soldiers being shot as they attempted to escape across the bayou at their rear. Houston's favorite horse was shot from under him, and he was hit in the ankle by a musket ball, but his men got him to a grassy spot under a tree. The main battle lasted 18 minutes, but firing continued until 630 Mexicans were killed and 730 were captured, while only 12 Texans died that day or later succumbed to mortal wounds. Most of the Mexicans were taken prisoner when Colonel Juan N. Almonte realized the only way to end the slaughter was to surrender. Wow. In 1837, Colonel William B. Travis's slave Joe, who had survived the Alamo and had been returned to the Travis estate, disappeared from the estate with a Mexican accomplice and 2 fully equipped horses. A notice, which appeared for 3 months in the Telegraph and Texas Register, offered a reward for his return. After he escaped, he apparently left for Alabama, where he lived on a Travis family plantation for several years. Joe was last reported to have been seen in Austin in 1875 and San Antonio in 1877. In 1888, the new Texas Capitol in Austin opened to the public, even though it was not dedicated until May 14th to 19th, and finally approved by the Capitol Board on December 6th of that year. In 1894, former Texas Governor James W. Throckmorton died in McKinney. He came to Texas from Tennessee at age 16 with his family in 1841, and later practiced medicine and law in McKinney. He served 3 terms in the Texas House and 1 in the Senate. He was one of only 7 delegates to the 1861 Secession Convention who voted against secession, but he served in the Confederate Army, led Texas state troops, and chaired the 1866 Constitutional Convention. He easily defeated Elisha M. Peace for governor in 1866, but on July 30th, 1867 was removed from office after conflicts with military officials. Passage of the General Amnesty Act of 1872 allowed him to return to public life, and he was elected to the U.S. Congress for 5 terms. In 1939, the San Jacinto Monument was dedicated and opened to the public, 103 years to the day after the famous battle that ensured Texas's independence. And interestingly enough, it is taller than the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., or Mordor, as I like to call it. In 1942, the Kennedy Alien Detention Camp received its first internees, and 2 days later, the first large group of prisoners. The German, Japanese, and Italian prisoners were all single males, since alien families went to the Crystal City camp. The Kennedy camp population varied from 700 to 1,200. Most of the earlier prisoners at Kennedy, Seagoville, and Crystal City were from Central and South America, and 70% were Japanese. Many Axis nationals in those countries were deported because of racial prejudice and their economic competition with Latin Americans. Kennedy became solely a prisoner of war camp in October 1st, 1944. All 3 camps closed in 1945. In 1948, the USS Texas, a battleship that served in both World Wars, was finally decommissioned. It was later presented to the state as the flagship of the Texas Navy and now resides at the Battleship Texas State Historic Site near the San Jacinto Monument. And in 1972, the Texas Rangers, playing in the new Arlington Stadium with the Theodore S. Ted Williams as manager, won their first baseball game. The club's record for its inaugural season was 54-100. They were tough to watch, for the first 40 years or so until they finally won. All right. Well, what a day April 21st was. This is your Texas History Roundup for San Jacinto Day, the day that in 18 minutes of glory won Texas its independence from Mexico and created the Republic of Texas. Who knows? I would think sometime in my lifetime, not necessarily battle, but some action will take place that will create the second Republic of Texas. That's much needed for Texas to survive. The only path is for her to break the chains of the albatross around her neck that is Washington or Mordor, D.C. It's time to leave the swamp. Again. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow on the next one. You take care.
Well, there you have it. If you like our podcast, check us out at feedbandit.com. There you'll find awesome Texas First outdoors gear and apparel. Your purchase helps support the Bandits and keeps this podcast on the air, fighting for you and for Texas. Remember, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Until next time.